Part 3 involves solving equations after using the distributive property. Please watch this video and complete the following equations. When you're finished, please go on and complete page 3 and 4 in your packet and then see the teacher for the key. When we work with solving equations after using distributive property, there are two ways to do this. We can solve before using the distributive property, but in today's lesson I'm going to encourage you to use the distributive property first. So the distributive property says that the number on the outside multiplies every term inside the parentheses. So that 4 is going to multiply 2n, and the 4 is going to multiply positive 7. So 4 times 2n, and then 4 times 7. And that becomes 8n. 4 times 7 would be positive 28. And then on the other side of the equation, we're going to drop down 52. Then we're going to solve like we did last lesson. We start with a constant. So I see adding 28, so we're going to do the opposite, which is taking away 28. And we have 24 left over. Our next step is to divide by 8 on both sides, leaving n equals 3. Continuing on to number 2. Sometimes they shift the variable and the constant in different places within the parentheses. So we would start this by taking 6 times 3 and 6 times x, and it's a positive x. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 6 times x would be positive 6x. And we just bring 30 down from the right side. Now we're ready to solve. We're going to build our wall, and again, we always start with a constant. So our constant in this case is the first term of 18. So we're going to do the opposite of our positive 18. We're going to subtract 18, or we can view it as having a negative 18. So we're going to eliminate 18, leaving 6x. And since it's positive, we're just going to drop it down as 6x. And on the other side, we have 12. Next, we're going to divide by 6 on both sides. Side by side means multiply, so that's why we're using division, which eliminates the 6, leaving x equals 2. At any time, if you need more time, you can pause the video and copy down what the steps that are needed. So now let's move on. Sometimes this is a place where errors can occur. We're going to take 3 times a, but this time in front of this 7 is a minus sign. So we're going to look at this as a negative 7. So 3 times a would be 3a, and 3 times negative 7 would be negative 21. So we're going to write that negative 21 down as minus 21. And on the other side, we have 18. Now we're ready to solve. We start with a constant of minus 21 or negative 21, so we're going to undo it by an inverse operation. We're going to add 21 to both sides. That eliminates or zeroes out 21, negative 21, leaving 3a on this side, and on the right side, 18 plus 21 is 39. Now we have 3 and a being side by side, which means multiply, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 3 on both sides, and our final answer would be a equals 13. That's our solution. So we're now going to move on to our last example. We have 2 times 8w using the distributive property, but this 2 also multiplies the other number inside the parentheses, which happens to be a negative or minus 5. So 2 times 8w would be 16 W. 2 times negative 5 would be negative 10. In this case, we're going to use negative 10 as minus 10. And then we just drop down 22 on the other side. Now we're ready to solve. We're going to build our wall. We start with the constant of minus 10, or negative 10. The opposite would be to add 10. Eliminating that 10. And we have 16W left on this side. And on the other side, we have 32. And for our final step, 16W side by side means multiply. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 16, eliminating the 16. And the solution is W equals 2. Would you please go on now and complete page 3 and 4, the distributive property, part 1 and part 2. And when you're finished, see your teacher for the key and check your answers. And then please return for the final lesson, part 4,